Today's title is remarkably similar to Breaking Bad in that we start off with two protagonists whose days are likely numbered. They have to use strategy and wit in order to survive a hostile environment. You meet a few friends along the way that are likely to die just when you start to like them, and everyone's totally out to kill you just to get a taste of your sweet, sweet crystal. In today's humble opinion, we're being swarmed in Dungeon of the Endless Crystal Edition. Dungeon of the Endless is a game that was developed and published by Amplitude Studios. What kind of game, you ask? I don't know, man. Throw a dart at the metaphorical board of genres and whatever it hits has a 70% chance of being at least somewhat accurate. Somebody told this game when it was growing up that it could be anything that it wanted to be, so it chose to be fucking everything. It's a little bit roguelite, a little bit tower defense, a little bit RPG, a little bit dungeon crawler, and a little bit turn-based strategy. And now when I put it that way, it might sound like the game's messier than my life, but first of all, that's impossible, and second of all, it's actually a lot better than it sounds. The game, not my life. They actually managed to smooth over some of the hectic nature that you might expect from such a mishmash of genres by dividing each floor into two distinct phases. The first phase is the one where you move from room to room, fighting enemies and discovering goodies. This is where it's more traditionally roguelite in nature, and the goal is to find the exit. Once you do that, you have to have one of your characters pick up the crystal, and then all hell breaks loose. Hopefully you've set up some towers, because this one is all about protecting the crystal, and your manpower is going to be limited because at least one of your characters is obviously going to be busy carrying the crystal. The rest of the weight is going to be placed on your turrets and whatever characters you have remaining, which should help keep you protected. Despite what the difficulty settings might have you believe, this game is by no means easy. It's harder than my shit on an all-cheese diet, and if your playthroughs are just as full of death as mine, it's gonna be at least half as bloody. The game is going to be challenging, and it not only knows it, but is smug as fuck about it. Oh, you're having trouble, it seems to leer? Well, you can always just set it to this much easier baby mode. If you want to. A cheap but effective ploy, since my pride will not allow me to be patronized. It also lets you know that you'll be dying a lot as a result of things the tutorial can't be fucked to cover. Fuck you, omniscient tutorial text. The difficulty, as it turns out, comes from the excellent balance of strategy and punishment that the game seems to be working with. Every decision you make could be what results in death. Except for me, the very blunt "this could kill you" option that you sometimes get from time to time. Funny how things work out. You open the wrong door at the wrong time and you could end up getting chewed through if you haven't made the right preparations. Light up the wrong room and the monsters might spawn in a different room and blindside your whole operation, which would affect production, or in the case of having your crystal attack, the number of rooms that you can light up at any given moment. It's interesting that every slip up causes you to lose ground that you aren't able to recover from, meaning that you have to work harder to compensate for what you lost and rethink your whole approach. A game that gets harder as you lose it. An example would be losing a hero that you have to do without, then finding another hero in the dungeon that might not fit quite as well, but having to make it work. Though I guess it's fair for a game that's half roguelite, half RPG, half turn-based strategy, and half tower defense to have 2 games worth of difficulty forced inside of it. Even once you beat it, the game doesn't quite end. There are loads of ships to unlock, all of which offer different challenges to face when going into a game. There are also quite a few heroes to unlock, all of which have their strategic uses and predispositions. Which reminds me, the difference between Crystal Edition and the $11.99 version of the game is that Crystal Edition comes with an extra ship and a hero that excels in wit. Yes, that's the wit icon. It could have been a brain or a light bulb or something, but that's what they went with. Don't make it awkward. Getting back to prices, you can normally find Dungeon of the Endless Crystal Edition on the Steam store for the price of $18.99, which is fair considering that even the base game would be well worth $20. You can always buy the cheaper version if you'd like, but I personally found the hero to be quite useful. And when this game goes on sale, it goes on sale, so maybe try to pick it up for $4.74 if you've still got some reservations. Gameplay for Dungeon of the Endless Crystal Edition earns a perfect 10 out of 10 for the sheer success that it manages to achieve with such an ambitious goal. Blending together so many gameplay elements as elegantly and effectively as it does is by no means a simple feat, and yet they've managed to make a game that is easy to understand but challenging to overcome. There's nothing about it that's complicated for the sake of being complicated. There's no artificial difficulty. If you bring the right answers to the challenges posed, you will succeed without question. It's learning to interpret the question that makes up the difficulty, experiencing different scenarios and thinking about how you can better play them out or make efficient use of your resources. Learning how elements work together. It's truly a masterfully crafted game. Value likewise earns a 10 out of 10, if not for the experience alone, then for the breadth of variety and replayability that it offers. It's a fun game from an excellent studio that is apparently quite skilled in the art of games that blend genres together in unique ways. They approached game design from an angle that many don't consider, and they pulled it off with flying colors. It's challenging, it's demanding, it's polished, and it's a great time. The only issue that I've heard about is that the multiplayer doesn't seem to work online, and to be fair, I didn't see any servers up and running. But even as a single player game, it's an excellent addition to any bundle. it's a heavy hitter. With a composite score of 10, Dungeon of the Endless Crystal Edition earns a well-deserved A+, and if you're in the mood for something new and engaging, which is usually what everyone's in the mood for on any day of the week that ends in Y, this might be exactly what you're looking for.